Hey everyone, I'm Norn Queen Alexis, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this hobby showcase slash army list video for my custom Space Marine chapter, the Sons of Garrow. So I wanted to make this video because I've been doing a lot of conversions and a lot of just work on this army that I did a lot of kit bashing and a lot of cool stuff to this army, and I really wanted to show you guys because I did make Victrix Guard, but I did make them for my own custom chapter, and I kind of wanted to show you guys and see what you guys thought. I will admit that these are not my best painted miniatures. My Space Wolves are way better painted than this army, but I had a lot of fun doing the conversions and everything, and I will admit right off the bat, this is a meta chasing army. I built it for a tournament, and I played in the tournament, and I took fourth, I think, in the overall tournament. And I gotta say, Victrix Guard are a lot of fun, and they will be nerfed into the ground in very soon. I think the way that they nerf them is just upping the two characters that join them. I think their points are fine. You just up the characters around them. So. I want to jump into this army, show you guys, and talk about it. So let's get into this. I should get into the lore of my Sons of Garrow as well, because, yeah. So, my Sons of Garrow custom chapter is a rapid response and reinforcement type army. So, what that means is they go into the thick of war zones where, the guard are falling, Space Marines have died, and that's where they drop in. And they drop pods filled with supplies to resupply the guard. They'll go to war zones where Space Marines have lost and pick up their relics, similar to the Blood Ravens, but they don't steal it. Instead, what this chapter does is they take their relics and use them or wear them into another conflict zone so that the chapter doesn't lose any honor and then eventually returns it to its home chapter. The Sons of Garrow, in my whole lore, is that they're they work very closely with a lot of different chapters, but they themselves are a fleet-based chapter, and they just recruit from wherever they can. So you will see things like this banner, which has a Dark Angel symbol on it, and it's a Dark Angel successor of some description. I don't know why there's a speckle on this. I'm not sure if that's an actual speckle or... Yeah, that's going to bug me now. But there's... Is there a speckle on my camera, maybe? Because that's weird. That might actually be on the miniature. I got to double check. This is the one thing when you click on a miniature, when you take a really close picture of a miniature, you start noticing all the things you've done wrong, like this massive mold line that I did not see on my miniature, and I'm going to go back and fix. So that's the tidbits of lore. They carry other chapters' relics into battle and then return them. They also wear a very unique helmet that is very squared. You can see it right here. And the captains and first company all wear plumes, unless they're in Terminator armor, in which case they don't wear the plume on the Terminator armor. But the plume is very important to the chapter itself. It's a signifier of where their rank is, and it's very easy to see on the battlefield. So this is a 2,000 point army, and this is a captain with a power fist. Very clearly, this is a custom-made miniature. This is a captain miniature from the Warhammer, that little box set that you can buy where it comes with varying miniatures. And the miniature I got out of it was a captain that had a sword and whatever. I cut his arms off here, and then I put my own arms on. You could see that this is an old Heresy arm. And he's carrying a mastercrafted plasma pistol with a scope, because why not? I always liked the idea that the old mastercrafted thing just meant that it was fancy and had a scope on it. He's got an old Space Marine shoulder pad. This is a captain shoulder pad from 5th edition. And this power fist itself is from, I think, the Sergeant box for the tactical squad. And you can see that the bits actually fit very well on the Primaris Marines. Even this backpack, not the backpack, but the banner is from the tactical squad. And again, it all fits really well onto the Primaris Space Marine, and yeah. The army list for this video will be in the description down below, so if you want to see the full army list and just be like, Alexis, this army list sucks, This is a competitive army list. This is not the competitive Ultramarine army list. I will let people know that right off the bat. There is a better way of running this army, but this is my take on a competitive list that I had fun with. So with him is a company hero squad. Weirdly enough, I typically don't put him in the company hero squad. I took this picture and then realized afterwards he actually joins the other Victrix Guard squad, and then Uriel Ventris joins this squad. So that is my mistake. Yeah. So this is a company hero squad. I'm using the Blade Guard Ancient in my company hero squad. I didn't actually buy a company hero squad at all because I wanted to, but its price is really high. And yeah, I just happen to have a bunch of extra Primaris bodies, and I was like, I could build a company hero squad. No one uses the Blade Guard Ancient, so no one cares that I'm using him. But what I intend to do here is actually cut this banner off and put a more unique banner on this. I'm hoping other chapters get a very unique banner. I might actually take the Black Templars banner and put it on him, but that's a maybe. So over here, you can see this champion in the squad. He has a Sword of the Space Wolves, so he's carrying that into battle. There's an old heavy bolter here. This is just the heavy bolter from the tactical squad, no, Devastator squad. And again, it fits the Primaris really well. Like the hands actually look more appropriate sized. There's a bolt pistol and an arm and a shoulder pad from an older set here. And of course, I put servo skulls on a lot of my stuff. I really like the idea that servo skulls are floating all around Space Marines and helping them resupply and everything, because it makes sense. The company hero squad is just really good. 105 points for 4 dudes with 4 wounds and a 2-up armor save is amazing. The heavy bolter is okay. Their damage output is just okay. The thing that's attached to them is going to survive. And this is why I like sticking Uriel Ventris with them, because Ventris likes to go into the middle and hold the middle so that his Vectora can affect as much of the table as possible. And the company heroes tend to keep them alive doing that. Then we have a better look at the company hero squads. You can actually see that this is a Blade Guard veteran that it was made out of. I was lucky enough to buy a whole bunch of the Blade Guard veteran easy to build sets when that set came out. I think I bought like 6 of them because they were dirt cheap, and I knew how quick it was to just clip their arms off or just keep their arms on and just use them. These are the base body for this is a Hellblaster, and same with this is a Hellblaster. So the conversion was super easy. Again, they're just bodies with wide standing legs, so they work for every single Primaris Space Marine. Over here, we have the guy that I'm using as Cato Sicarius. We're using the new Cato Sicarius because the new one can actually join a squad alongside Calgar, but the old one can't. But the old one has Scout, and Scout is really good, but I'm pretty sure the old one is going to go to Legends very soon. And this is the one I use for him. He's carrying a White Scar helmet. I do need to put the red Thunderbolt on it still, so that it is a White Scar helmet, and he will carry that into battle as he fights. That's kind of, again, the whole chapter's lore of bringing people's relics again into battle and then returning it to the chapter. Over here, we have my Calgar. This is a conversion, and these are 2 AOS miniatures that I just put a backpack on and a Dark Angel helmet on, and it worked really, really well. Like, I did not have to do much conversion here. We might need to actually zoom out a bit just to see this. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, you can fuck off. No. Whatever. Close enough. Oh my god. Okay. So this miniature is heavily converted. We have the Power Fist from the 4th edition Captain. We have a Power Fist from the Resin Captain, the Resin Terminator Praetor from Forge World's Games Day on him. We have the 4th edition / 5th edition company backpack cut down to put the eagles on his backpack. This is the bolt rifle Gravis armored captain, and I cut his arms off and I put the Power Fist so that the Power Fist is still holding the sword. And I really like that it's like on top of the hilt, because that is something that, as a sword fighter myself, you can see my sword back there, you do actually do. You do rest your arm on it. It's very convenient for that. Like, even when you're carrying a shield, you'll sometimes take your shield and rest it on the sword just to hold everything up. So this is my take on Marneus Calgar. I put this on the base because I thought it looked really cool and very unique. He doesn't have a visible trophy that he's carrying, not trophy, but relic that he's carrying into battle. So maybe it's his Power Fist, maybe it's a weapon he's using, maybe it's that sword itself. The two bodyguards next to him, the Victrix Guard, could have knives or something that is more appropriate. I am going to put helmets on their waists, or like some type of war gear on their waist to show that it's from a different chapter. I don't really think I need to explain Calgar. He's absolutely amazing. But him and Cato Sicarius are going to join a Victrix Guard unit, and that unit is going to gain so many fucking abilities. Like, it's crazy how good that unit becomes. They can advance and charge. They can advance and shoot. They can fall back and charge. They can fall back and shoot. They have a reactive move. They have -1 to being wounded, and then Cato gives them something else. I'm forgetting his other ability, but I think he has 2. The reactive move and heroic intervention for free. There is a ton of abilities that go on this Victrix Guard unit, and it makes it one of the best units in the game currently. I actually think that it is probably the best unit in the entire game at this moment for its points. So yeah. Oh yeah, and obviously he's the Warlord. I didn't put bolters on his gauntlets because I didn't have anything that fit, in my opinion, appropriately. So what I might do in the future is have a servo skull with 2 bolters on it, floating around him, just to represent that he has, the bolters. Okay, moving on. We have the Victrix Guard unit. Now, you'll note that there is a lot of power mauls in there, and those are not axes or swords. The Victrix Guard use power weapons. I actually think their war gear is called, I think it is just power weapons. Let me double check the name of their war gear. It's mastercrafted power weapons. So if you wanted to convert your own squad of these guys, you can just do it out of any pieces you have. Just a power weapon. They can run around with like a lightning claw if you really wanted to, and you wanted to make them very unique. Just explain to your opponent what they are. And I think as long as you have the bolter in the other hand, people know what they are. I used Blade Guard veterans as the bodies for these. And then I put the Power Maul from the Death Watch on them, because the Death Watch older boxes came with a ton of Power Mauls, and Power Mauls were terrible weapons in older editions. They're terrible weapons in Heresy as well. So they're very easy to come by. And I felt like the Power Maul gave my chapter something like super unique for a power weapon to use. And then you can see the varying bolters that I used, like the Godwin here. We got a Stern Guard bolter here with the drum magazine and the scope. We got another one of those. We got a Space Wolf bolter here. I am going to paint this one up to be an actual Space Wolf bolter. We got the Death Watch bolter here. We have an old 5th edition bolter and an old 5th edition bolter. I really liked when the bolter didn't have the hand attached to it, so you could do things like this. And again, a lot of these arms are just regular Space Marine arms. And if you notice, all of them do have the Crux Terminatus on their shoulder pad itself to mark them as First Company veterans. And I tried to make it so that it was very clear that these are First Company veterans. And I tried to stick as much lore into them as possible, so they have, like, it shows that they're First Company. I do want to put some stuff on there as a chapter symbol, but I have not yet been able to figure out what chapter symbol I want on them that would really fit what the idea that I have. I might do the Inquisitorial Eye, but the older version that is on Nathaniel Garrow, like the actual Eye of Malcador, instead of the Inquisitorial Eye. This is my other Victrix Guard squad. This is the one with the banner and with the champion. This champion is actually the limited edition champion that you could have gotten a while ago. And then you can see the varying other Victrix Guard that I made. I did only make 12, sadly. I do want to make 18, but as of right now, it's 12. This is not their chapter symbol. This is a banner of a different chapter that they are carrying into battle. Again, to give that chapter honor once more, because their ancient fell. And they will bring that into battle once more and give it back to the chapter that it is formerly of. This model right here is actually the chaplain, the original chaplain from the Indomitus box, I believe. And I didn't have to do much conversion on him. I'm gonna cut off his gun eventually, because this is a heavy, or an absolver bolt pistol, and I'm gonna replace it with a bolter and just call it a bolt carbine, because the original bolter kind of just became the bolt carbine, model wise anyway. It usually has like the other piece on it. I don't know guns, I'm sorry. But the smaller bolter is typically the bolt carbine, and that's kind of what I went with here. And I assume that the AP, the better AP of it, represents that they also have like the Stern Guard equivalent of being able to swap their ammo types to combat all threats. So yeah, and again, you can see the mohawks on all of them. They look great. I love this. I love the mohawk look. I love the helmet, and yeah, it's very unique to my chapter, and I absolutely love it. If you want to get this helmet and mohawk, you can get it from Puppets War. This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. I actually need to order a bunch more because I just ran out. So I do need to buy more. So another look at the banner and everything, and that's... maybe it was from the actual spray bottle. I'm going to have to go back and look at this and touch this up a little bit. I do like the speckling on the banner, though. It looks really nice. So yeah, you can just see here, just Blade Guard veterans, and they all mesh together really well. I do need to remove his Iron Halo because they technically don't have Iron Halos, which is something that the Blade Guard veterans get, but the Victrix Guard and the company heroes don't for some reason. But honestly, if they did have that, they would be insanely broken. So yeah. Now, this is my Uriel Ventris, and I want somebody in the comments down below to put what that banner is. But I will say this is the Ultramarine bolt gun that he is carrying into battle. But yeah, I want to know if I did well enough that this is... my freehand kind of sucks, I will admit that. The heart came out a little bit wonky, but if you know, you know. And yeah, him carrying it into battle, I don't think he'll ever be able to return it to the chapter. But Uriel Ventris is going to deep strike a big unit of Stern Guard veterans. And I have I love the deep striking Stern Guard. I think it's great. And he's super good for it. And again, he has a Vector. He's going to join my company heroes, and he's going to be in the middle of the board, just being a pest, usually behind like the center piece of terrain, and just behind a wall, just 1 inch away from the wall, or within 6 inches of other squads, so that he can heroic or they can heroic for him. And it's like all I need is one model to be within 6 inches of him for Calgar's unit with Cato Sicarius to just come in as a heroic against him. And it's super good because that is a huge footprint across the battlefield that you can now just heroic. And yeah, it's really fun. Just another look at him, more closer look at this bolter. And yeah, he just has a bolter for some reason. Like, it's a good bolter, but it's a bolter. So this is... I don't have a good stand-in for Chief Librarian Tigurius, and my own chapter, like, this model unfortunately doesn't have much going for it. I do want to convert this model a bit more, but it does have the blue and black robes. It is blue armored with the red shoulder pads to show that it's part of the chapter. But honestly, it's the most generic miniature in my army, and it does unfortunately have just the regular Primaris helmet. I did run out of the Puppets War helmets, and I do need to get a bit more. I was thinking of getting like some lightning for his hands, but I felt like that's a bit too silly. And I want to switch out his helmet, and I want to give him a banner. I think that would be the best way to do it. Just, give him some stuff. But Chief Librarian Tigurius, he's going to lead a squad of Stern Guard veterans, and he gives them -1 to, what does he give them? While this model is leading a unit, each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. In addition, once per turn, you can Overwatch. There's a lot of other things you can do with him, but you're going to Overwatch. And him with Stern Guard is actually insane because his shooting gets better because of the Stern Guard, who gets a reroll to hit and wound. So he gets deep striked. You deep strike him in, and with the 10-man Stern Guard unit, you blow away everything. Like, you pick a unit and you just kill it. And it is great, and I love it. So speaking of, for Stern Guard veterans, I just use the old Tactical Marines from Heresy. These are my 30k Dark Angels. I do need a unit of Stern Guard, and I think I'm going to build a new unit of them, but for right now, I'm just using my 30k Dark Angels, which share a very similar color scheme, but eagle-eyed viewers will know that this red is a darker color than this red, and thus they're not the same. Also, the Dark Angels in 30k are way more black than red, and they have like checkered stripes and all of this other stuff. I didn't do it on these guys because these are just a tactical squad in 30k, and if you play 30k, you know you need like 40 of these guys at this time. So I just kind of throw them onto an objective and call it good. But for 40k, I do run them, and there is 2 multi-meltas in there. Those are definitely heavy bolters. I couldn't find my heavy bolters at the time of filming this, but there are 2 heavy bolters in the unit. But I do run these guys as Stern Guard veterans, and I run them with the bolt rifles now. And with Tigurius, with the rerolling hits and wounds when they target something on an objective, they typically deal enough mortal wounds to kill a custodian squad. And you might be asking yourself, Alexis, 10 Stern Guard in 1 unit is a bit much, especially with Tigurius. And you are absolutely correct. You only really need 5. 2 5-mans would be better than 1 10-man. And the reason that I do a 10-man is strictly because of my local meta. My local meta has 6 different custodian players, and I need all of the devastating wounds to pile on to the unit that is going, the warden unit that's going to have a 4-up invo save and a 4-up feel no pain, and I just need to pile on as many mortal wounds as possible to kill the unit. So this is a choice based on my meta, but this is not something that you should build your army list around. So moving on from here, we just have another picture of them. Look at how pretty they are. Look at those orange eyes. I do think that my Dark Angels are painted better than my Sons of Garrow. That's just me. So then we have a Combi-Lieutenant. Literally take any Phobos Marine or any Phobos... funny enough, if you go to Games Workshop right now or Games Workshop affiliated store, you can actually get a free Phobos Marine, and all you have to do is give him a Combi-weapon and a knife, and that's your Combi-Lieutenant. Put him on a 40 base and just call it good. And every single person will be like, oh, okay. Because there's nothing unique about this guy. He is just super good, and you really want those reroll 1s to wound for certain squads. This is mandatory in a Space Marine army. Like, regardless of which chapter you're running, a Combi-Lieutenant infiltrates, it picks picks an objective at the beginning of the game, and you reroll 1s to wound on it. It's absolutely amazing. And your enemy just has to tap it. Like, just have a little tiny pinky on it, and you can reroll 1s to wound against it. He's just super good. Early game, he has a reactive move. If he survives till late game, you're getting, like, at minimum 5 extra points just for him existing. I don't know how to do Phobos Marines with my helmet. So I did give him an unhelmeted head, and he doesn't have a plume. So do you think that I should rip off this head, give him a helmet with a plume, or does the helmet feel heavier armored than the Phobos should have? Tell me your thoughts in the comments, because yeah, I've been curious about this, and I've gone back and forth on it. The next unit that I use is 2 units of Devastators. Now, again, the plumes are on the sergeants, and they're on first company, and they're on captains and everything. So you might be looking at this and being like, grav cannons and bolters, are you stupid? And the answer is, I don't run them this way. I run them with las cannons and missiles. So they are armed incorrectly. I do need to cut these and put a las cannon barrel on them, but yeah, it does kind of bug me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but I thought the Centurions looked really silly at first. I don't usually put the shoulder pads on them. I think they look a little bit better without them, but they've kind of grown on me quite a bit. I've kind of fallen in love with them. They're also ridiculously good. So these 2 units I usually outflank with because they move 4, but the reason that I outflank with them is because if your opponent goes into the mid-board, you can go all the way on the sides of the boards and just pick them off and then slowly charge things on an objective. And weirdly enough, you do want to actually charge with these things, typically against very weak units. Very weak units are what they want to go after. But if they can make it to an objective through a charge, that's where you want them to be. And if you're running Ultramarines, you simply just put them in the tactical doctrine, fall back from it, but you need that for extra movement because these guys only move 4 inches a turn. So the charge is actually just another way of getting them onto the point and surviving. They have 2-up armor, toughness 7, and they're just super good. They reroll 1s to hit natively, and then I think if you're on an objective, they reroll everything to hit. Let me double check just so I'm correct. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, reroll hit rolls of 1. If it targets an enemy unit within range of an objective marker, you can reroll the hit roll instead. Now, what makes this really, really good is they have missiles and they have las cannons, which means they want to target something that is touching the lieutenant with combi-weapons objective. This way they get full rerolls, basically, because they will reroll 1s to wound, and typically they're going to be wounding things on 2s. So they are insanely good. Either that or they're wounding things on 3s, which is fine because then only 2s miss, and they're just a super efficient unit. But I hear yourself saying, well, I don't like the Centurions very much. They look dumb and stupid. Well, let me introduce you to something dumber and stupider, and that is the Saturnine Terminators. I absolutely love these guys, and once you see them side by side, you can actually see that the Centurions is the stripped down version of the Saturnine armor. You can even see it on their legs and everything. Like, the Saturnine armor had these big shieldings and everything, and weapon housings that powered, like, super unique weapons. And once they lost that during the Heresy, they had a bunch of the Saturnine armor left over, but they couldn't replicate its power sources or its weaponry, so they just retrofitted them into these. So the old lore of Centurion armor being around since the Heresy is actually now true. These are my Dark Angel, I think this is Dreadwing, Saturnine Terminators. They're equipped with the Disintegrator and the Flamethrower, but what I want to do is, these arms are very interchangeable, which is super cool because they could just pop off. I want to put like a small missile launcher thingy in the middle, like a hunter-killer missile right in the middle here, and I think it'll fit pretty well and look like the older art. And then I want to put the, just count this as the 2 las cannons, and then this is just a Centurion fist. And boom, you have usable Centurions. And especially being that Centurions are really hard to get, you can just buy Saturnine Terminators just at most Games Workshops, wherever Heresy is sold, and you can get 4 of them, which is an awkward number, but if you buy 2 of them, you get 2 squads of Centurions, and almost a 3rd squad of Centurions, which is very awkward. It's very weird that they're in a squad of 4, and I think that's one of the dumbest things that GW has done with Heresy. That's a gripe for another day. Yeah. So, yeah, Centurions. They look super cool. I absolutely love them. I still have pencil mark here. I forgot to wash that off. But you can see that I've done the checker patterns on as much of it as I could. And these parts here that are bone white are the spots that they've taken fatal wounds from. and have lived through it. It's a Deathwing thing. So moving on, we have the most boring unit in the army, but still a stupidly good unit, and that is just the 5-man intercessors with very clearly a Thunderhammer and grenade launcher. I typically put the Thunderhammer and the grenade launcher on the same guy, which is Sergeant. Sergeant's the only one that can take a Thunderhammer. This unit spits out so much goddamn firepower, it's ridiculous. Like, typically what you do is you sit these on your backfield objective and you just wait. But towards the later parts of the game, when weakened units are trying to push for home or push for middle, that's when I use these guys, and I use them quite a bit for this. And it's just mowing down very weakened units or characters that are alone. Because these guys spit out 4 shots apiece and then a grenade launcher. And if you're within 8 inches, they can throw a grenade, shoot a billion times, and then they can shoot a grenade launcher, then they can charge into combat with a Thunderhammer. I know a lot of people run it with the Power Fist because I think the Power Fist gets 1 more attack. I prefer the Thunderhammer because of the devastating wounds in case something is weak and I just need that 1 hit to do it. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I think they're a fantastic unit. Honestly, I think you can win a game just by bringing like 60 intercessors. But I only run 1 squad. Just 1 squad of 5. Boop. Then we have the Vanguard Veterans. Very clearly, again, from my Heresy army. If you're going to buy any jump unit for 40k, just go to your Heresy section, get any of them because they're in a 10-man unit instead of a 5-man unit. They look better, and they're a bit more dynamic, in my opinion. I think they look better. They're at the right scale, and they come with more options. So these actually do come with shields and a whole bunch of power weapons. So if you buy the Mark 6 ones, you get a whole bunch of power weapons. If you buy the Mark 3 or 4 ones, you get a chain swords, chain axes, and the shield as well. I typically run these guys with shields. I have not finished painting the shields at this time, but the shields will be put on them over these bolt pistols. But they're also really good with Inferno pistols. Like, it really depends what you want them to do. Do you want them to just be a kill unit, or do you want them to just be a surviving unit? I like these guys a little bit more than Jump Pack Intercessors. I think Jump Pack Intercessors are really good for picking off a wound on a character, or piling in, killing something that you charge and then piling in and, you know, dealing those last few mortal wounds and then getting around fights first. I think that's super useful. But when it comes down to like survivability, I like the 4-up invo save. I like my whole army having a 4-up invo save or 4-up save of some kind. And Vanguard Veterans are 5 extra points for a 4-up invo save. They're still going to die really quickly because they're only 2 wounds. But they have lethal hits on the charge. They sound pretty deadly when they charge. Do not charge them at full units. You want to charge them at weakened units. And they are an action monkey. All they're doing is actions. That's what you need them for. Just like your lieutenant with Combi-weapon, he's an action monkey. These are action monkeys. And then just another picture of them. You can see a cat hair right here. Clearly, I have a cat. Yeah. And yeah, they're just really good. So next up, we have kind of a sleeper unit, in my opinion. I think these guys are absolutely incredible. These are the Invader ATVs with multi-meltas. And these are just action monkeys. They're toughness 5 with 8 wounds. And they have an ability, it never procs because they need to be near each other, and I always put them across the boards from each other. These things move quick, 12 inches. They can spit out a pretty decent firepower for what they are with that multi-melta, and they're really good at picking off Eldar. Like, I love using these just to charge into Eldari and just pick off like 1 or 2 warriors, or use them to charge first so that my actual unit that I want to charge can make it in pretty safely. But their main role in my army, their absolute main role is being action monkeys. So that is the entire list. Oh, wait, I did forget one thing. One super important thing. A sleeping Kofu. Very important. Absolute unit. Look at that sleepy boy. Look at him. He's so cute. So that is the entirety of the list for my current Ultramarines. Again, the list will be in the description down below. Unless I forget, then I will try to put it as a comment. unless I forget again, then somebody just yell at me. Like, don't use actual words, just yell. Just be like, "Wah!" and I will completely understand. But overall, I really do like this army. I think it's super fun to play. It's super quick. It is extremely deadly. I played up against Chaos Knights, and I won 100 to like 20 something. I played up against orcs, and God's Guild did kill one entire unit of Victrix Guard, but then I turned around and killed her entire army. So it was, fun for me. My third game didn't go as well. I went up against Custodes, and our Custodes players are extremely good players, and they're just so much fun to play against. I absolutely love playing against them because they give me a challenge that's like super super fun, and it constantly makes me think. And I absolutely love the players. They're all sweethearts, and yeah, I love them. I can't rant more about how much I love the players at in Iceland. All of them have been absolutely fantastic, and the competitive community I have found in general, the competitive community is actually just super nice to each other. They all want to play the game at the highest level, but they don't want you to they don't want to just steamroll you. They also want you to enjoy the game. And if you're having bad problems with certain players, it does suck, and I get that. But please don't think that that is the majority of players. The majority of players are super nice, and they just want to play the game at like a competitive level. I'm talking strictly about like tournament players, and they're just here to have a ton of fun, and they're going to. And I've been having the time of my life playing 10th edition in the most competitive way possible. And all of these conversions and everything, and I've done a ton of conversions with my Space Wolves where they're on dinosaurs, and a whole bunch of other conversions with armies that I've commissioned, that I've been commissioned to paint and build. And all of them have been okayed by tournament officials. And for the most part, everyone is just like, hey, we're here to play. Let's have fun. This looks sick. And if you can't afford the Victrix Guard or they're still sold out, here's an alternative. If you just have a mountain of bits, like I happen to have a gigantic box of bits, and I constantly try to get more bits in bits like trades and everything, just so I can build more stuff. And when people commission stuff from me, I tend to throw, like, I ask them if they want something commission built. They give me a rough idea, and I try to build it for them, and I hand it to them, and they're just like, yeah, this is awesome. So I just wanted to share this, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you stayed till the end, because if you did, you're awesome, and I love you. So yeah, I'm just enjoying the game. As always, I'm Northern Queen Alexis. I love you guys. Bye.